Hello friends, we are going to sell at Uptown CheapKate. I have 25 items in my Hulkin in my trunk. Let's see how many items they take. I'm so sorry about the angle. This is the only place I could put you where you wouldn't fall down. A couple of tips I have for selling to consignment stores. One, if you're new, hello, my name is Nikki. I have not been to this location in almost a year. I don't sell very often to like stores like Uptown CheapKate, Crossroads, Buffalo Exchange, because I recently let me turn the air down, sorry. In the last year have been selling directly to thrift stores and consignment stores. So I did a whole video on how I started doing that. When I say directly, I mean like I'm meeting with the owners and the managers and I am selling items to them like in the back of the room. That sounds weird, but if you're interested on how to do that, it's one of my favorite ways to resell. I will link it down below. So I also have been doing wholesale orders to other resellers, which I do on my newsletter, which is always linked down below. So this type of reselling has really fallen to like bottom for me, because I just have so many other ways that I enjoy doing it. I'm all about diversification, as you all know. So let's go inside. 25 items. Let's see what they take. I'll come back afterwards and tell you if they take anything. Maybe they won't. And how much I make. Let's go.
All right, we immediately have to go into voiceover mode because, as most stores do in Los Angeles, they were blasting music and I don't want to get a copyright strike. So immediately when you come in this store, they have dollar bins and I was so excited. I completely forgot this location has this. Not all Uptown CheapKates do this, but there are not many places in Los Angeles anymore that you can get inventory for $1. Even the Goodwill outlet charges over $3 a pound, so it ends up, for me, it ends up equaling like $2 per piece. So I was really excited. I ended up picking up 14 items from the dollar bin. I even found some designer items in this dollar bin, friends. I don't know what the item is. Like, I'm not joking. I don't know if it's a hat or purse. You will see in an upcoming thrift haul, but I don't know what it is. But it is a designer. It's a designer item. I was going to show it to you at the end of this video, but I'm going to put it in a haul. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. But as I was standing here, this is really close to the counter where they tell people like whether they're taking things or not. And 3 people, literally, they were busting people in and out, friends. Like, I'm snapping my fingers. They were like, okay, Rebecca, we're ready. Sally, we're ready. And they took nothing from all 3 of those people. Black Halo for $1. Let me just stop my story time to tell you. Black Halo, Google that brand. Their dresses retail for hundreds. Like, the most affordable dress you'll find from them is like $150, maybe $100 if it's on sale. I just picked it up for $1. Perfect condition. I don't know why this store was packed. I don't know why more people weren't looking through the dollar bins. I will say on top, it was like Forever 21 and Shein, but then I digged through all of these from top to bottom like I was at the Goodwill outlet, and I found amazing stuff. So anyways, as I'm standing here, I hear that they're not buying anything. There were like 3 people as I was standing here digging through these bins that they were like, we're going to pass. I was like, oh, okay. I don't think they're going to buy anything from me. And I will share some tips with you. I have been selling to these types of stores for years. I will say rule number 1, if you want to get the most bang for your buck, is you need to be there when they open. At the beginning of the day. I actually heard the manager say some things that we'll talk about. We're going to go back to the car after this. They were done with my stuff in literally 15 minutes. I was going to show you all around this store because it's very organized. It's very clean. They have great inventory. This is the only 2 areas I could get through. And they were like, your order's ready. I'm like, oh, okay. So I just assumed they didn't take anything. But if you want to hear what I got, stick around. We'll go back to the car. I'll share some tips on selling to consignment stores, buying from consignment stores, and how to get the most money possible from them. So this rack was all 2-piece sets. Some things were reasonably priced. Some, I will say this store, I do not feel like is overpriced. I just think everything is not great for resale. If you're shopping for yourself, this can be a great place to get trendy, clean items. This, I always call it AFRM. is it I used to know what this brand stood for. You can find it at Nordstrom Rack, sometimes like Bloomingdale's. Really cute stuff. I own a lot of their stuff. That was only $20. Marine Layer, that one was $15, or was it $20? This is a brand that's sold at Revolve very often. They had that one priced at $40. So like that 2-piece set, I looked it up, retailed for over $200. That's a great deal if you're buying for yourself. For reselling, not so much. Let's go to the car. I'll tell you if they bought anything from me, and I'll share some tips on how to get the most money possible from consignment stores.
All right, friends, let me put the window up. They ended up giving me $40. I took the cash. $40 for, let me take my gum out, 4 items. I'm pretty happy with that. Everything that they took, let me tell you what they took. I was going to show you before I went some of the items I had, but I just ran out of time and it's getting late. One tip I will tell you about selling to these stores, try to get there early, like when they first open, because when I went in, I don't even know if I told you in the voiceover part, they were like snapping people in and out, you know. They were like, okay, we didn't take anything, thank you. Okay, Ashley, we didn't take anything, thank you. So I was like, oh my gosh, are they gonna buy anything from me? I came here after a work meeting, so I know I look really, well, you can't even really see my outfit. I look casual, but a lot of, I was going to say real estate agents in Los Angeles are casual. That is not true. But this is a client of mine that I've talked about her before. We've become friends. She's an investor. So she wanted to look at some condos around here, and then she took me out to lunch. So I'm literally really casual. So, why did I go off on a tangent to tell you that? Oh, the point is I'm here after a work day. So I went in around like 6 p.m. and I heard the manager say, we've bought enough today, like be really selective. I listen to everything. You guys know I've got like eagle ears. I listen to everything and I talk to as many employees as possible. So I heard the manager say that. So I was like, they're not going to take anything from me. Here I come with my Hulk, and literally the people before me, they bought nothing. And I didn't realize this, but I guess you can donate your items to them. I didn't know that. So the 2 people ahead of me, they took nothing. One girl had like 2 things she was trying to sell. Another girl had like 10, and they just both donated it to them. So I'm sure I mentioned in the voiceover, I literally went through one rack and I got a text that they were ready. I was like, oh gosh, they're not. They didn't buy anything. I had some really good stuff in there. So everything that they took from me was from the Goodwill outlet. I had Rebecca Minkoff flats. Everything from the Goodwill outlet was $2. I had, I round up. It was like $1 and like 98 cents. It's $2 basically. So Rebecca Minkoff flats. They took a Zara dress that was new with tags. They took an Urban Outfitters sweatshirt, which I'm surprised. I'm filming this in July, but you know, they're getting ready for fall too and back to school. They took that, and they also took a pre-owned skirt that was Kate Spade. So all of that for me came from the Goodwill outlet. They said you can either have $52 store credit or $40 cash. I know, and I mentioned this in the intro, I don't do this type of reselling often enough to take the store credit. I don't know when I'm going to be near an Uptown CheapKate again, although I do pass them a lot for work. Oh, it's hot, you guys. What's the temperature? It's currently only 74, but I'm sitting in the sun, so I'll just open the window because I know when I have the air on, you guys can hear that. So I took the cash, friends. I took the cash. But I did end up getting 12 items from the dollar bin, so that came up to $13.23, and it says I saved $154.88. So I'll take it. I can't get inventory for $1 anywhere. $2, yes. Years ago, we used to have Dollar Day here in Los Angeles, but they went away with that like not long after COVID. When was that? Years ago now, I think. 2023? 2022, I can't remember. But anyway, so we don't have Dollar Day anymore, so it's now $1.99, which is still good, but I was really grateful for those dollar bins. I need to see if other Uptown CheapKates have dollar bins, because right now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know any other place here that I can get inventory for $1. It used to be so much easier. Our bins used to be more affordable, and we used to have dollar day, but que sera. Que sera. I said that so American. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm just grateful they took anything. So tips I would say is make your stuff look nice and neat. I noticed like everyone else was bringing in trash bags and stuff, which is nothing wrong with trash bags, but I could see like the stuff was like all disheveled. And especially when they're being really picky, you just want your stuff nice and neat so they can easily get through it. I did have mine in the gold Hulkin, and I had it nice and neat, and they put it back in kind of crazy, but whatever. And the biggest tip I will say though is get here early. Like if you can, come right when they open, because from what I heard the manager say, like once they reach their quota, like they get really selective or they almost buy nothing. So that's when I used to do this really frequently, especially last year. I would always make sure that if I was going to do this, I was like one of the first people in line right when the store opened. And I think it's best, especially if you're going to be sourcing at that store, to take the store credit, because you just get more money. I know I'm not going to be sourcing there. I probably won't go back for a while, so I'll take 40 bucks. I paid $4. No, sorry, 4 items times 2. I paid $8, and I got paid out cash 40, so I made $32 profit. I mean, especially if you can do this full time. Like, I know a lot of resellers that are full-time that will just hit different locations like once or twice a week. You know, they have all this inventory. They source specifically for these buy-sell trade stores, and they'll go to one of my friends will go to like 3 different locations every week. Oh, phone call. Follow stores on social media. If you all only knew how many of these stores, I have thrifted around the country. I'm following consignment stores from when I was in Nebraska, Wyoming, like every thrift store, consignment store that I go to that has social media, I'm following them. TikTok, I found a supplier through TikTok. I told you all, we have a lot of new friends here. NBC, the NBC producer found me through social media. So there's a lot of business opportunity in social media. Even if you don't want to be a creator or anything, you can source some great stuff on social media, because I sell regularly still to a lot of out-of-state consignment stores. And I source from them too. Like I just sourced a Gucci handbag from one of the consignment stores I visited in New Jersey. I don't source from her as much as I used to, but she gets really unique handbags. So I will source those from her. She ships them to me, and then I ship it to ThredUp. I sell most of my designer items on ThredUp and The RealReal. So this store has a Instagram, and they were saying that they announce their sales on Instagram first, and if you sign up for their newsletter and text. So I do all of that. I get a ton of spam, but you know what? I score some amazing deals from following these stores on Instagram. So Instagram, TikTok, some of them even have Facebook. When I was in Scottsdale and Chandler, Arizona, I went to a couple of, I think it was Crossroads. I went to Crossroads, and there's another consignment store, and they list all of their stuff online. They have their own Shopify website, and I've worked a deal with the manager that before they list certain things, they will send pictures to me. It's like, not just me, it's like 10 of us that buy from them consistently. So once you build relationships, which you can do, friends, and I know some of you are like, well, Nikki, I don't want to talk to people like you do. It's social media. All you have to do is type. The manager in Scottsdale, I've never spoken to her. I don't even know what her voice sounds like. I just started following them on Instagram, and so I DM'd them because they post stuff like almost daily. And I was like, hey, do you ever, like, if I bought consistently, would you consider maybe before you list things on your website and price them in the store, would you ever consider like just sending me like a little inventory sheet of stuff that's coming up, and if I buy direct and I pay cash, cash is king, friends. If you have the money on hand, not literally cash, but if you can pay quickly and they don't have to pay employees to photograph, to list and store, you can get some really good deals. So I score a lot of designer items that way too. And it's not even designer. You could just get inventory shipped to your door, because time is fleeting. And if anyone is scarce on time, it's myself, and I know we can all use more time in our lives. So I try to make these videos helpful. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you want to see more of these, let me know. I can film more. I will go just for you all. I'm not necessarily going for myself. I mean, I guess it's mutually beneficial. I get to teach you all things. You get to see stores around Los Angeles, and then hopefully I make a couple bucks. I just got $40. I'm pretty happy with that.